Hey, WOMBUS here. This was a video I was working on for the past month, and let's just say life got in the way a lot. I'm not going to finish this video due to some unfortunate circumstances, but I finished sections of it that I decided to put together and release here, because, you know, if it's finished, you might as well release what's, you know, left of it. This video is going to be released as the video after the Pokemon video. You know, I'm trying to create different types of content, and this is my next idea. I had a few ideas, but that's all just going to be going into that's basically going to be on hold for an indefinite amount of time until I you know, figure something out. This video involved me reviewing, I think it was 7 or 8 different animes, and reviewing them and kind of giving my thoughts. You know, as someone who doesn't watch that many animes, but I only ended up finishing one of them. And I wrote, and I only edited 2 reviews. You'll see what I mean when I say that. But yeah, it's just a lot of stuff's been happening, so I'm just gonna have to boot this video and just kind of release what I can, because I still think, you know, I have some funny jokes and stuff, and there's some good stuff in here. So you know, I probably won't see you for a while after this video is uploaded, but I hope you enjoy.
Looking for true love wherever I go. True love, looking for true love, for true love. So love me so. Looking for true love, looking for true love, looking for true love wherever I go. I'm looking for true love, looking for true love, looking for true love to love me so. Sunday, Monday, in my heart, and Tuesday, Wednesday, up to Thursday, Friday, I won't give it Saturday, start again. Making hands and making strong, making time to last the whole night long. Making hands and making strong, making time to last the whole night long. Should I go, 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 wherever I go. Should I go, 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 oh, could this be the one? Could the next one be the one? Really? My true love? True love, looking for true love, looking for true love wherever I go. True love, looking for true love, looking for true love, so love me so. Should I go, 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 wherever I go. Should I go, 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 should I go,
I don't know how to continue from that. Hey everyone, it's me. Obama. In the current year of 2026, anime is quite popular in the United States. But believe it or not, it wasn't always like that. Despite existing since the 60s, anime didn't get popular in the US until the late 2000s. It's weird looking at YouTube videos from like 2007 where people talk about anime. Like it's a weird niche subculture they enjoy and not the biggest fucking thing ever. The point I'm getting at here is that I was born around the time the big anime boom of the early 2010s happened. Unfortunately, if you were also on the internet in the 2010s, you would also... There's some fucking guy revving his fucking motorcycle outside like a bitch. You would also know that anime fans got a really bad reputation on the internet. Hell, they still have it now. When I was a kid, liking anime was seen as cringe. But that was around 2016 internet, okay? Times have changed since then. iDubbbz wasn't a cuck back then, okay? It was a different time.
With all the force of a raging Jew.
But I will get to those points when I get to reviewing the anime. Speaking of, I have a list of shows to watch for this video. I'll put the list of the 7 shows up on screen right now, so you can see what animes I review. And if I review one of your favorite animes, and you don't like my opinion, send your death threats to this address. Now that I've told you my tale, let's see if I've been too harsh on anime and finally watch some. Bocce the Rock, based off the 2019 manga that's actually still going on currently, is a show about Hitori, or Bocce as she's called, as she struggles with her social anxiety. You probably had a predetermined prediction on what I thought about this show. The cool YouTube reviewer hates the cutesy girl anime, and you would be completely wrong, because this is a surprisingly solid show. The premise of the show is about Bocce, I don't know how you pronounce it, making new bandmate friends and struggling with her social anxiety. As someone who is incredibly socially inept, this is the most relatable show I have ever watched. How they show Bocce's struggles are very accurate to real life. Getting nervous about walking into a restaurant, doing anything publicly, and even gets nervous saying things to her friends. The show is very good at stretching the premise to 12 episodes. Almost every episode is focused on tackling different socially anxious scenarios, like having to convince people to buy tickets, or given the band part of the show, performing on stage in public. There are quite a few things I want to talk about in this show, so let me continue with another factor of the writing, the comedy. And here's the thing about comedy in anime. It is usually very bad. Japanese people love this lol random sauce XD type humor that comes across trying hard to be funny, or just being cringy. For example, Kill la Kill is a very good action anime, but sometimes they swear so much you think them saying bitch 30 times is them trying to be funny, or just trying to be cool. It doesn't work either way. I'll try to save as much spiel about this as I can, until I get to the actual comedy anime on the list. But the comedy in this show is actually very good at comedy. It's random, but there is cohesion with the jokes. It's not just random equals funny.
Sorry. I love Sonic and I love eating gyros.
There are genuinely some toe-tickling jokes in this show. This joke with this Ryo character's shirt designs just being shitty photoshops is probably my favorite joke, and there's probably some really funny lines I forgot too. You can take this show out of context a lot. There's a lot of shitpost opportunities for this show. But most of the comedy mostly comes from the visuals. With the concept of the show being very basic, you wonder how they make the visuals interesting. Well, they sure do figure it out. Whenever Bocce has some type of anxiety attack or overthinks a scenario, the art style switches up to make the visuals engaging. If there is an art style you can think of, this show has probably done it. It could be a basic design choice like this watercolor background, to a completely different style altogether. My favorites are probably this manga art style that is in the style of a kaiju movie, the psychedelic sequence, and this crazy ass 3D visual where Bocce dies. The animation is pretty good in general in this show, but these visuals take a scene where characters are talking into a scene where Bocce gets fucking trial quartered and hung. Imagine not knowing anything about this show and just reading the notes I took, and then you just see, I like how extreme the lynching scene is. You would think this show takes a fucking Madoka Magica style turn. Bocce spends her time in this show with her bandmates, Neru, Tato, and Hatsure Miku. I kid, but the characters are pretty good. They all have their own personality traits to congeal with each other. Sorry, big word. Najika, a name you should pronounce very carefully, is the bone of the group, a happy-go-lucky leader. Ryo, if I pronounce any of these names wrong, I'm sorry, I'm not Japanese. Ryo, the deadpan personality who is a little quirky. Kita, the outgoing extrovert that is a complete opposite to Bocce. These four make a very fun group to follow. I kinda wish they focused on some of their other characters' plots, like how Kita wants to be an Instagrammer. That's the show's words, not mine. But even without it, the show still works perfectly fine. I will say one thing that could have been explored a little more is there is a subplot where the Kita character has a crush on Ryo, so we see her lust over her the whole season. I wish it was explored more in this season. It goes on in the background, but they don't explore it, and sometimes I forget it's even a thing. Aside from all that, I really got into the show. It's just so relatable! God! I wish I was in the show! I wanna be Bocce! I think the last thing I should talk about and a very important part of the show is obviously the music. The instrumental music in the background is pretty good, but the real music is the original songs that the band sings. They're fucking bangers. The song That Band is probably the best, but they are all great.
Did you know that cashews come from a fruit? Did you know that cashews come from a fruit? Fruit.
Bocce the Rock is an amazing anime that I totally recommend. They even have a great fan base. May I introduce you to whydekita.com? This is the whole website. It even makes noises. I wonder what happens when you use an auto clicker. Anyways, this anime gets an astounding 9 out of 10 from me. I will be watching season 2. Man, that show was good, but I think I'm done with girl band animes. Boy, if I had to watch another girl band anime, I would be upset right now.
引き返そうかな
Girls Last Tour, based off the 2014 manga, is a show. I'm going to be entirely honest with you here. This is the only show in this video I could not finish. Girls Last Tour doesn't really have a plot, really. It's just these two characters I forgot the names of, exploring a post-apocalyptic world. Like I said earlier, I couldn't finish the series. Was it because it was so abashingly awful I couldn't stomach more than 4 episodes of it? No, not at all. In fact, it might be the exact opposite. Just really mundane and doesn't leave much of an impact. We see this duo of, I believe, war soldiers, given the helmets, exploring a post-apocalyptic land, I assume after a war. The show doesn't explain any questions you may have about the world. At least that's what I assume. Remember, I didn't make it past 4 episodes. I'll give the show this: it's very atmospheric. We explore this world as the characters do. We discover things like planes and even hot water with them. It's a very laid-back show. Each episode is just our 2 main characters exploring or discovering something. You can see why I didn't make it past 4 episodes. Every episode feels like nothing is happening. Even the episode titles sound lazy. It's just a combination of the 3 things that happen each episode. Sometimes the characters are fun. The blonde one named Yuri, not to be confused with the drawn act of women kissing, although it would make the show more interesting if that happened, is the lug-headed dumbass that ruins everything for the other character, Cheeto, also not to be confused with the snack. Like I said earlier, there's so many questions not answered in this show. Are these 2 part of a war? Were they part of a war? And what made this place so dilapidated? How are they not familiar with this place? Was this not originally their home? In the first episode, we get a flashback showing some sort of backstory, but it's not brought up again. Again, as far as I know, I didn't finish the show, let me make it that as clear as possible. Even if I did watch all 12 episodes, I don't think my opinion would change that much. Its slow pace feels monotonous, and even when they explore an interesting theme like the theme of being attached to something in episode 3, I feel as if it could have been explored more. This was the 3rd show I watched for this video, and I knew I still had 5 more anime to watch, and I couldn't stomach it anymore. Hey, at least the opening and closing songs are pretty good though. Holy shit, is that an Evangelion reference? Girls Last Tour is a harmless anime that just isn't for me. No rating because I didn't finish it. I feel like I don't know how to properly end these reviews. I feel like I should end my reviews like how Movie Bob ends his reviews.
It would boil down to Fleck's journey of self-actualization through realizing that while society can be tough, the real cause of all of your problems is probably a woman.